How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for coming on and having a chat with me. I really appreciate it. That's
Uh,
awesome.
it's no stress at all. I'm literally in bed every day, all day. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, how you
it's
been going with the recovery of the injury and all that stuff?
it's been fine. I
Yeah,
mean, broken ribs are really, really bad when you are trying to sleep,
yeah, yeah,
but I can roll around now. I don't wake up in the middle of the night because of the
yeah.
ribs. So I think it's
Okay,
been almost 5 weeks.
yeah. So was it
So
just the ribs, or I think you said you mentioned something about a wrist? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So the wrist has tendon damage down the side here,
Okay, yeah,
and it's not quite recovering as fast as I would have hoped. But
yeah, yeah.
I think with this wrist brace, because there's a metal piece that goes all the way down it,
Uh-huh.
I should be able to get going in about a week and
Yeah.
have the wrist stable enough with the brace.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't see why. Why not?
Yeah,
I won't be
yeah.
able to ride rough roads and go hiking through the mountains, but I'll be able to be on the bike.
Yeah, I've been in kind of awe of your videography and all that stuff, and just checking out like the scenery and all of that, like the way you depict sort of, like the environment and all that. It's quite amazing. So
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
no
it's,
worries.
I mean, I've got the environment to give credit for that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
the Andes are just ridiculous.
yeah. They look
It's
like it.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So can we get into your current tour at the moment? So obviously you're having a bit of a rest from that at the moment, and resting up. So you're riding the Americas. And how long were you planning? It was like 2 years, right?
Yeah.
From
So
from
I
Argentina to
was
Alaska.
I was planning December last year
Yeah.
all the way through till maybe August or September next year.
Okay.
But I'm a little bit behind time now. So it's probably going to be longer if I
Hmm.
want to keep traveling in the same style that I am now.
Okay.
So it could be up to a year longer.
Yeah. So are
Who
you
knows?
stopping to work on like your blog and all that sort of stuff, and do the videos and
Yeah.
stuff?
So I guess my schedule is something like 3 weeks of cycling
Uh-huh.
and then like a week to 10 days off.
Okay.
And that's been working really well because I can like do somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 Ks in that time, depending on the
Hmm.
terrain. And I'll go through lots of different landscapes, meet a lot of people, and then be able to make a pretty good summary of my trip.
Hmm.
Um, and then in the 1 week, or sometimes it's a bit longer, maybe it's 10 days, I can make a film, I can write a few articles that I've had like ideas in my head, I can update the social media if I haven't had internet access for a while. So yeah, that's been really good. Like some people like to do, 2 days on, 1 day off, or 3 days on, 2 days off, or whatever it is. But for whatever reason, for me, 3 weeks on is great.
Yeah. And I think we need that downtime too as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Um.
pretty much the first day back, I just binge watch YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like every channel that I follow, there's like heaps of new videos. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of like just rest for a day, eat really good food in a city. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking about food, you're vegan, aren't you? How long
Yeah,
have you been vegan for?
I think it's been 5 or 6 years now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
When
Yeah,
was
because I'm
it?
vegan myself as well. I've been vegan for I
Oh,
think
cool.
almost a year now. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's been quite a while. I think it was 2013, somewhere in 2013, and I was traveling full time at that time as well.
Yeah.
And it was really slow. Like the years leading up before that, I was like a flexitarian, I guess.
Mm.
And then there was just a crunch time where I was like, okay, I need to do something now. Like my brain's telling me one thing, and yeah, I just need to align my morals with what my actions are. So yeah, that kind of happened very fast, the decision, but it was like a
Hmm.
long process
Yeah. So
of getting there.
how do you think you got sort of started in it? Was it someone that influenced you, or was it more about just doing the research and stuff like that, or and figuring out,
I think I watched Forks Over Knives in maybe 2012.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that gave me a lot of reassurance that you could be healthy and be a vegan, because I just didn't have the idea that I could ride my bike, 1,000 kilometers a week or whatever I was doing, and not eat animal products. Like, I genuinely thought that was the case. And then I think that was the catalyst, but I don't know. It was probably conversations with people and a mix of all kinds of stuff, really. Yeah. But I knew I wanted to be vegan, but I needed to know that it was going to be possible with my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because like traveling is obviously hard in some places, like crossing a desert or going through the high Andes Mountains. But I had no idea.
Yeah. One thing I had trouble with was like on my recent tour was like when people would offer me food and it wasn't vegan, and you'd have to sort of say no or whatever, if you know what I mean? Or like when, like, because you're really hungry and you want to eat right, but it's just really difficult to sort of balance that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you get good at that, don't you?
Yeah,
like,
that's right. Yeah,
you don't actually offend people. Like, people, they want to help you.
Yeah, that's right.
If you say, "Oh, sorry, I can't eat that, but I can eat this," then they'll 99% of the time like respond in a really welcoming way, and like they want to help. Like, they don't want to annoy you or be annoyed themselves.
Yep.
So I always have positive interactions, even like people who don't understand what a vegan is at all. I still have a positive interaction with them.
Yeah. So when and how did you sort of get into this whole world of bicycle travel and bicycle touring and all that?
I was 18 and I was traveling around Borneo, and I met somebody who wasn't traveling by a bike, but I was telling this person how much I loved cycling and how much of it I did at home, and I was just backpacking around. And this person was like, "Why don't you just travel with a bike?" And that was like the light bulb moment. I was like, it's not something that ever crossed my mind. Or if it did cross my mind, it was like these really, really old men that like were social introverts who like just kind of used it as an escape. That was kind of, I didn't know anyone my age that did it, basically. And then I made friends with somebody like only a few months later who had just gone on a bike tour, and he was my age. And he was like, "We should go on a bike tour together." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." Like, I'd thought about it for a while. And then we went to Myanmar or Burma.
Yeah, Burma.
And that was like a life-changing experience for me, just in terms of style of travel and like what you can do with a bike that you can't do with a backpack.
Yeah, exactly.
So
much further.
That's how it started, and like it's exponentially got more involved in my life since.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I read somewhere that you've been to 80 plus countries or something like that. Were all of them traveled by bicycle?
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
So like since I was 19, I've been traveling with a bike only. Like literally every time I've gone anywhere has been with a bike.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
So you went on a 2-year trip. Was it 2 years on the tandem bike?
Yeah. So that was from Amsterdam in the Netherlands all the way back to Australia.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So we zigzagged over Europe for about a year, maybe a bit under a year. And then we crossed Turkey, Georgia, Azerbaijan, into Iran, and then right through Central Asia up to the Himalayas. And we couldn't get a visa for China. Like, we literally had to fly home and get a visa in Australia if we wanted to go into China. And that was because there was a lot of like political stuff going on in the Western provinces. So we decided, instead of crossing China and going to Southeast Asia, we would use that time in South Korea and Japan. And like, that was amazing. Like, China's a really hard place. I'd been before that time, like just on shorter trips, and it was almost relieving to know that we didn't have to cross China.
Yeah.
Like
So
the infrastructure for Korea and Japan is just next level.
yeah, for sure. I've been to Japan too. I've cycled a bit of the south of Japan, and
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
it's quite an amazing place.
Yeah, definitely. Like onsens everywhere.
Yeah, so
And
good.
just food and internet, and like I love how compact the cities are.
Mm.
So you'll be in the city and then like 2 minutes later it's back to nature. There's no like intermediate kind of thing like we have in Australia.
Yeah, you did mention also, and I found this too, is the cities there. You did mention like they're very quiet, and
Yeah.
yeah, and they're clean too. Like yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
it's quite
is it
nice.
is strange like being in the middle of a city with 20 or 30 million people and you can't hear anything.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
crazy.
it's just silent. Nobody's loud in Japan. Everyone's respectful.
So if you had to choose, would you prefer to cycle like as a bike packing setup or bike touring setup? Because I think like
It's
bike packing isn't quite sort of sustainable in a way for longer trips in a way because you can't carry as much stuff, if you know what I mean, in terms of like
yeah.
necessities and things. Yeah,
I
but what are
think
your thoughts?
it depends on the trip.
Yeah, yeah.
So on a multi-year trip, like over the years, I've broken so much lightweight gear, and every time I break something, I replace it with something that's a little bit stronger.
Mm.
And so the stronger stuff's a bit heavier. It's normally a bit bulkier. So over time, like my volume and weight has just increased naturally because I want to be comfortable and I want gear that's going to last. Like they're my two priorities for like a multi-year trip.
Hmm.
But most of the stuff that I was doing when I was last in Australia was with bikepacking bags. So just going faster and lighter, traveling for 2 to 3 weeks max. And like that was totally fine. That it's sustainable to not have much,
Hmm.
be a little bit uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
yeah, multi-year, I like durable, strong, comfortable. They're my priorities.
Yeah, that's also one of the things I sort of have discovered through bicycle touring is the simple idea that we don't really need that many things to sort of get by in life. Like I guess we get caught up in the idea in this sort of Western society to always, keep up with the Joneses and buy the newest thing and all that sort of stuff. And I find through bicycle travel, like I don't know, it's kind of I've taken it into my life back home where I just have less things. I've sold all the most of the stuff that I've had and I live with less and
Yeah.
I'm more happier for it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I've always been a minimalist. So
Yeah.
like I've never really hoarded anything ever.
Yeah.
I've always like sold things as soon as I've upgraded things or like given clothes away to Salvation Army or yeah, that like I've always managed things in my life in that way just because I always felt better because of
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
I think bike travel takes it to a new level. Like
That's for sure. Yeah.
you literally have 10 to 20 kilograms of everything that you own for periods of time, and that's all you need. Like
Yeah, and it all
that
serves
is
like a
a
purpose too,
necessity.
doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, like whenever I am in a place for a long time, like I was in Australia for a few years in between these two trips,
Hmm.
and like there's so many nice things about having more clothes and having a kitchen full of nice stuff to make food. And yeah, there's heaps of things that I still think are necessities when you're living in a city, but
Mm.
you realize how far back you can pare all of your gear when you go on a bike trip.
Yeah. So, do you think like it's important to cycle alone, like and sort of get the benefits in a way? Like I find when I'm cycling alone, I'm able to I don't know be more creative, and I guess like get sort of more time to think in a way. Do you think
Yeah,
it's important to do like solo traveling?
I think both are equally as important.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
I think it would be sad if you went, like if you loved bike travel but you never did a solo trip,
Yeah.
But I also think it's sad if you only do solo travel and you don't get to like share experiences with someone else and have a massive memory bank of experiences that you can draw upon with others. So I think, like, I can't say that one is better than the other. I think they're pretty equal, and I enjoy both about the same.
Okay.
But yeah, on the solo trip, I've learnt so much more about myself, just generally. Like, having 24 hours just to think is incredible. It's such a unique thing. Hi, Kitty. So yeah, I think there's huge benefits to both.
Yeah, sweet. So I was going to talk about, like, I just got some notes here. What are some of your favorite sort of memories and highlights from all of your time bicycle touring, if you had to pick a couple of them?
Yeah. So I guess people often ask me what my favorite countries are. And I think a lot of my favorite memories are tied to those countries. So I'll let you know what they are. For people, I don't think you can go past Iran. They're by far, like by a factor of 10, the most generous people in the world. So you'll be walking along the street in a random city, and every 5 minutes someone will come up to you, they'll introduce themselves, they'll ask where you're staying, they'll ask whether you've eaten, and if like you don't have anywhere to stay, they will literally invite you to their house. And this is not just randomly, this is every day, all the time.
Wow.
So that, like, going to a place like that, you realize how much more generous people can get. And like, people literally took me on a holiday with them. So they'd invite me to their house, and then they're like, in 2 days, I actually have to go on holiday with my family. Do you want to come? Like, just crazy stuff like that. Wow. So I think just the people and experiences that you'll have in Iran they're unique in this world.
Yeah.
Other places that I think are incredible are Bolivia and Peru. So I've been in Peru for almost 6 months now, and I plan to be here between 2 and 3 months. And the only reason I've stayed so long is because of how incredible the landscapes are. So like, every valley that you go between, there is a completely different feeling, climate, like, just everything changes. There's incredible rock formations, there's places to camp, there's no cars, there's fresh water. So in terms of adventure travel, I think Bolivia and Peru are up there with the best in the world.
Wow. Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, I have to put that on the list.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild here.
Yeah, sweet. So if you had to give any tips for someone, I guess, who was sort of starting out, or was I guess feeling like they're sort of held back in a way, and they sort of wanted to get into this world of bicycle travels, like, what sort of advice would you give them?
So a lot of people who ask me, like, how do I start? I always tell them to go on a credit card tour. So, like, because a lot of people don't have camping equipment, or they don't have a touring bike, or, you know, whatever it is, but everyone has a bike.
Yeah.
So you can easily eat out of supermarkets and like cafes and stuff, and then stay in like hostels or like motels, any form of accommodation. And like, you could do, you know, 2 days, or you could do a week, or you could do a month in that way, and get the experience of what it's like to do bike travel before you invest in like a dedicated touring bike or dedicated bikepacking bags or any other camping equipment as well. So I think it's not a must. Like, if you already know that you like camping and you already know that you like cycling, there's a good chance that you'll like to integrate both of them. But if you want to just get started, just don't have the gear and just outsource everything.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, so I was actually talking to Tom. He's here in Australia, and he is into bicycle touring stuff. And I asked him, like, if he had any questions for you too, and he said Like, what do you do in regards to saddles and sort of on the bike clothing? Do you have like a particular sort of saddle that you use, and like, are you wearing sort of nicks under your shorts or whatever like that, or
Yeah.
how do you do that?
So I have a pretty extensive cycling background. So
Yeah,
I kind of know what seats I like and what shapes I like and what models I like just through lots of mountain biking and road racing and stuff.
yeah,
But the current seat that I'm using, I broke a seat in Cambodia, and I was like, shit, where am I going to get a seat that I'm comfortable on? And so I just bought the first seat I could find in a bike shop in Cambodia, and that's the seat that I've used for the last 5 years.
wow.
So the shape just worked.
Yeah,
And I don't know why. I don't know how I'm going to get another one when I break this one. But yeah, it just works really, really well with my body. And I can't ride without nicks with it. I do get like saddle sores if I try and do more than, say, 20 kilometers on it. So I have cycling undershorts or under nicks, or I don't know what the technical category is, but
yeah,
basically
nicks or something.
it's not designed to be worn on the outside. So they're like a really, really light mesh with a chamois. So they breathe better. They're pretty much see-through. So you do need to wear them under shorts.
Yep.
But yeah, that just allows me to be a little bit more casual and have some pockets, and I can pair them with whatever shorts I'm wearing at the time as well. So that's been great.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
So,
good combo.
yeah, yeah. So the Cycling About blog and the brand and all that stuff, is that kind of like a full-time sort of thing for you? Is that like what you're spending most of your time on when you're not cycling?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love creating resources
Mm-hmm.
and information, and like helping people go on bike adventures just through like gear selection or how to do this or where to go, any of that sort of stuff. So
Yeah. How long have you been
um,
doing the blog for?
I started it when I started in Europe. So that was 6 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I started it a little bit before that, but yeah, I didn't spend heaps of time on it until I started traveling. And it was just a way in the start just to document our trip.
Yep.
So it was just purely about the stories and photos and stuff. But I kind of realized that there wasn't, when I was researching parts and equipment and stuff, I kind of realized that there wasn't any other website that was telling me the information that I wanted to find out. So I just started creating it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been 6 years since then. And yeah, nowadays I've got some sponsors, and I've written a few books that I sell through my website.
Yeah.
And people also support me along the way. So I've only just started this, but like there's Patreon, where all of the money that people donate on Patreon goes into camera equipment, because I break so much gear.
Yeah.
I go through cameras and tripods and lenses and all of that stuff all the time, just because of the places I take my gear. And then on the website, you can also support the website, and like that just goes into web design and hosting and all of that sort of stuff. So it's all just a way to offset the costs of travel and provide like inspiration or how-to kind of stuff for other people.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. It's kind of like you're giving back in a way as well, so that's cool. So does it take a lot of work to sort of edit your videos and work on the blog? Like, how many hours do you reckon you're spending on all of that sort of stuff?
So my latest video was about 6 days of editing. So
wow, yeah,
it's pretty huge, and
then,
a lot of it's just sorting through all of the stuff I capture over 3 weeks. Like there is gigs and gigs and gigs of like hundreds of gigs of videos, and like I try and bust the camera out as much as possible to talk to it, and then I kind of have to make a story with all of these hours of footage, and you can't do that in a day. So there's probably like sometimes I can make a video in 2 days, but the most recent ones, because there've been so much content, I've had to take 5 or 6 days to make them.
Yeah.
And then I'd say the majority of the time I spend on the website is just replying to comments. Like, I remember a while ago, I went away for 3 weeks and I was like, okay, I'm going to have a break from the blog. And when I got back, it took me 2 days to respond to every comment.
Wow.
So, yeah, and that was like 9 to 5 replying to comments. So that just gives you an idea of how much time it takes to just reply to people. It's, pretty insane, but I do love it. So it doesn't seem like work to me at all.
Yeah, that's cool as. So well, what do you think are like the best ways that travelers can sort of give back to the communities that they sort of pass through? Because I find like people are so generous and they want to help you out so much. Do you know if, like, have you found out any ways like that you do personally maybe that you sort of give back to the communities as you're passing through?
I think just interacting with people is all they expect.
Yeah.
Like, you are only passing through for, you know, an afternoon or a day at most of the time. And like just sharing experiences with people, like, for example, the towns that I went through where I had my accident, they're going to remember me forever. Like, I'm going to be that guy on a bike that came to our town. And, you know, I had so many positive interactions with people that whole time there. I think that's enough in a lot of cases in terms of giving back, like just positive memories and shared experiences. Otherwise, like, if you want to give stickers to children, like kids love that stuff, and stickers don't weigh anything. Sometimes I carry around 5-cent coins. Yeah, because like they're really, really small. They're like a little bit heavy, but giving a kid a coin, even if it's just 5 cents in, you know, Vietnam, that kid is going to love you forever and is going to be so stoked on his little shiny coin.
Yeah, I even had the idea once maybe to like take a Polaroid camera and like take photos with them and then give them a physical photo or something like that. Even. Yeah,
there's quite a few people that carry around printers and like take portraits of people. Yeah, I've met quite a few over the years, which is cool. Yeah. But yeah, like I think a lot more people have smartphones now, so photos are almost becoming less important because everyone has a way to take photos now. That's right. Yeah. But like 10 years ago, some places would never have even seen a camera before, so it would be a completely different gift to give. Yeah. So
I guess this is a bit of a broader question, but if you can, how would you sort of sum up your sort of life's philosophy?
Yeah, that is quite a broad question.
Yeah, sorry if it's a bit tough.
So I guess I like to have, like, I have quite a lifelong learning philosophy. So I am constantly trying to learn new things and teach new things as well. So I think that plays a very big role in my life. I also love to share, and I mean, most of that is just through social media, videos, the website, all of that kind of stuff. Sharing information, I think that's like one of the most important things you can do. Yeah. And then compassion and being kind, like those are just two things that anyone can do, and it makes you feel better and it does better for the world. And there's like literally no downside to it. So why would you not be the most kind and compassionate you possibly can? And then I'm also super passionate about the environment. So I get to experience all of these incredible places as they are currently. And there's just so many ways that humanity is doing things that are going to affect these climates, or not even just the climate, like logging and mining and creating roads and expanding cities. Like all of these things are having a cause on like landscape degradation. So yeah, just talking about that stuff to people all the time is something that I try and do.
Yeah, awesome.
yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but they're kind of
No,
some
that's
of the
pretty
things
good.
I live by.
No, that's awesome. All right. So I guess after you finish your trip into sort of Alaska or whenever you finish your trip at the moment, what's sort of planned after that? Like, have you got any other things that you're sort of working on after that? That you will be?
It's too far away to know,
Yeah.
but
hmm
in the back of my mind, I've got living in Canada for a year
Okay.
and just exploring North America in more depth, like not even necessarily with a bike, like
Yeah.
doing more skiing and climbing and running and snowboarding and other definitely adventure type stuff, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, maybe broaden everything a little bit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, possibly go home for a while.
Yeah. So home's in Melbourne,
It'll,
is it?
yeah,
Yep.
because obviously I miss my family and friends and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
if I add a year in Canada, then it'll be 4 years between like leaving and
Oh
getting
wow.
home.
Yeah. Wow. Is that the longest time you've been away?
Well, it was about 2.5 years when I rode from Amsterdam back to Melbourne. So
Oh yeah.
it's pretty close.
Yeah.
But then if I'm enjoying what I'm doing as much as I am now, I'll probably go to Africa.
Yeah.
Realistically, because yeah, like the more you travel, the more you have the itch to travel more.
Yeah, that's right. You get that
Which is
travel bug.
yeah, and it just gets exponentially greater. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
hmm
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll get to Alaska and then go, well, might go home for a few months and then jump back on the bike and ride around Africa or something.
Yeah.
Who
Sounds good.
knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can't possibly know what's going to be going on in my head in a few years.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, that's about it for the interview. So thank you for taking the time to have a chat with me and all that stuff. Really
Yeah, no
appreciate it.
worries.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Yeah. All the
Happy to
best with
talk.
your recovery and all of that stuff. I hope you get back on the road soon. So
Awesome.
yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Ciao.
See you later.